So welcome to Geek Out Weekly, the podcast where we geek out not so strongly on a roughly 7-day basis. I'm your host, Aadil, and this week I'm joined by Connor.
Hello, pleasure to meet you.
Happy to have you on. Nice to hear your voice.
I've done a few little pieces for you. Oh, my apologies. Sorry, continue.
No, go on.
No, I've done a few little pieces for you guys, and I wanted to do a episode. I haven't been able to do one, and I said to myself, "Hey, might as well do one now." That kind of thing.
Yeah, it's not like we all have places to be. Although I did go to the pub yesterday.
Yes,
which was
I saw the pictures.
Yeah, which was very weird, but also we ended up going to multiple pubs because we really didn't want the feeling of slightly more normal to go away.
I get you.
Yeah,
You didn't want the for tomorrow to be, oh, you're back in level 5 lockdown. You can't go on anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Also,
it's
sorry, I forgot to do the old podcast stream stuff. I hate when I screw up. Yeah, so I'm a little out of sorts because I have work people coming into the house.
Of course.
Which is very awkward in general, but in this day and age, it's a little weirder. This is a talk show,
I get you.
There we go. Cool. So I just had to update the stream because I forgot to do that part. Right. So what are we talking about today?
Godzilla versus Kong.
Right. I keep wanting to call it King Kong.
Yeah, I mean, most of the movie is just King Kong. Godzilla is like a secondary character.
Tertiary sometimes. So what's your history with this MonsterVerse franchise?
Well, I went to see the 2014 Godzilla in 2014. I was like, oh, this looks interesting. It might be good. It's Bryan Cranston. The trailers seem to keep showing that same scene where he's been interrogated, and he's like, "You have no right to keep me here. I know what you're doing. You have a monster." I was like, "That's a fantastic scene." And then he dies, like I think 5 minutes after that fantastic scene, and then it's his really boring son for the rest of the movie, and his really boring wife for the rest of the movie. And then there's like one epic scene where Godzilla roars down someone's throat and rips it apart. That's cool. I never saw what's it called, King Kong of Skull Island.
Yeah.
I want to see that because it looks like the most visually interesting. Like it's 70s. I know some little bits of it, like the monsters and everything. And then finally, I saw Godzilla King of Monsters, which the trailers fooled me because they made it seem like it was this like very philosophical, very interesting piece with like very interesting music. It was done by the guy who did God of War, Barry McCreary, and his music is fucking oh, sorry.
Yeah, you're fine. No, you're fine. We can be explicit.
Good one. His music is fantastic, and they fit the tone perfectly. And then when you watch the movie, it doesn't really work because most of the film is dealt with the human characters. They're boring. They're one note. They try to be funny, and you're just like, shut up. Show me the monsters. I just want to see the monsters kill each other. And I would call that movie. I would say with all of these movies, their tones are all over the place. Like the first one is very mysterious. Like it keeps Godzilla in the background. The second one I saw, which was Gods and Monsters, has the sense of it tries to be more philosophical, bigger, epicer. And then we have King Kong, which is, or not King Kong, sorry, Godzilla versus King Kong, which is just stupid. It's beautifully stupid. And I liked a lot of the film. I wouldn't say it was my favorite film of the year so far, but I would say I enjoyed it immensely. It was really good.
Excellent. I've just realized my door is open. Ugh. One sec.
No matter.
There we go. I'm glad you mentioned the beautiful stupidity of this film.
Yeah.
Because boy is it dumb.
It is dumb.
Is very, very dumb.
I agree with you. Like there's scenes with the podcaster guy. Let me just get his name now. That's the problem with these movies. Let me just have a look now, because I don't remember any of the characters.
I mean,
It's Brian, Bernie Hayes,
yeah.
whatever his name is. I don't remember any of their names except for Lance Reddick, who was in the movie for no reason. He just comes in at the end, is like, "Hello, it's me, Zavala from Destiny. I'm here for no reason." I say one line, and then I'm gone.
Yeah, I
But
assume it's because he was in another one of the films.
I don't think he was. I think he. But apparently, you can see what's her name? The woman from the King Kong movie.
Mm.
I can't remember the name of the actress. The actress she played Captain Marvel. She eludes me.
Brie
But like
Larson?
apparently she's Brie Larson. Yeah, apparently she's in the background somewhere. Like apparently someone said, "Like, oh, you can see Brie Larson, you can see Tom Hiddleston," and I was like, "Where the bloody hell were they?" I didn't see Tom Hiddleston anywhere
Oh, wow,
unless he was
yeah.
just unless he just waved. It was like, "Hello," and then it ended. um, but yeah, no, I think it was a fantastic movie. Just some little issues with pacing, and I will say they greatly improved the human characters, even though they're in it a little bit too much. Their dialogue is better. It's wackier. It's funnier. And I think that works better for Godzilla when they try and be like, "Oh yes, philosophical. We talk about the history of our world." I'm like, "Shut up! Just let me see the two beasts kill each other. That's all I want."
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree that it's paced well between the downtime between fighting mostly, and and like with the human characters to just give you a breather so that you can work yourself back up to watch the fight.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
but after that, I mean, I guess I haven't. So I skipped my history. My history is I saw the Bryan Cranston Godzilla one, and I think I'm on the same page as you. It's just a thing. It was just like,
Yeah,
oh, it didn't do what I thought it was going to be. It was a bit of a bait and switch,
exactly.
and I think I
It
would have liked it
subverted your
more.
expectations.
Yeah. And then I didn't
Um,
really see any of the other ones. I was hoping this weekend to try and catch King of the Monsters and Skull Island, but I just lost track of time basically.
yeah,
Because time is such a
I don't blame you.
mirror. Sorry.
I don't blame you because like I bought that movie on Blu-ray and I was like, I'm gonna watch this again because I love the fight scenes, and then I never watched it again because you only want to watch the fight scenes and you never want to hear the characters speak.
Mm.
Um, but thankfully, as I said, like they got rid of all the annoying characters and they just made the movie a little bit more enjoyable without them in it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean the characters are very one note still,
Oh
but
yeah,
they're at least not overstaying their welcome.
yeah. Well, they're one note, but they're not trying to be anything more than that.
Yeah.
That was the problem with the last movie is that they tried to be something more, and you're just like, just stop talking. Like the guy, I can't remember his name. He had white hair in the second movie, and he was just annoying. He kept making like silly quips, and I was like, "You're a scientist. Why are you making these quips? It's annoying, and you're kind of a pretentious asshole. Just stop talking."
Mm.
But yeah, yeah.
Um. So yeah, let's just go into it a bit a bit deeper. So
Of course.
what's let's see. Who was your favorite of the human groups? Did you have did you actually connect with any of the storylines in particular?
For me, I connected with the con. What's the word? The con human group. So like, Eileen, yeah, Eileen, Doctor Nathan,
Yeah,
and what was the little girl's name?
Gia.
Gia. Yeah, I liked their side story because it was a little bit more endearing, a little bit cuter. How they like met up with Khan, how they kind of speak to Khan. It's
Yeah,
more interesting. But then when I look at like the Godzilla group, even though their acting is fantastic, and I love the podcaster guy, his name again,
Bernie.
Bernie. He is a really good character. He's funny, he's wacky, but his his survivability in the movie is weird because like the bad guy goes, "I know you from somewhere."
Oh no,
Oh,
he
he was
was
a podcast.
no
What?
he that was to Millie Bobby Brown's character,
Oh
Madison.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he
Oh,
was
of course.
because her
Yeah, I forgot.
mom died in one of the
Exactly.
movies, I guess. I mean, having not seen most of these, it's sort of hard for me to, and I don't remember much from the Bryan Cranston one because I saw it in the theaters. What a weird thought that is.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I found it interesting as a like having not seen all the rest of the franchise, to be like, this is very watchable. But also, I think some things I assumed happened in the movies that didn't. Like the Gia character is new. I thought she was established in Kong Skull Island, but apparently she wasn't.
Yeah, well, as they say in the film, her entire family or tribe of people were killed in a storm, and Khan found her, and he went, "Oh, I want to protect you." And the same with the woman; she was like, "Oh, I want to protect her too."
Yeah, but apparently that wasn't actually in Kong Skull Island. They just made up a huge backstory, and it was like, oh, because I just assumed that they were doing a callback to the previous movie, right? That would make sense.
Yeah.
This happened, and it was like, no, that just happened between movies. Don't worry about it. Now he has a best friend he's going to protect.
That is the issue because they have a bad guy from the the third movie, if I'm being correct. The guy from Game of Thrones who played what's his name now? My apologies. I'll just get his name here now. You can continue talking, but I just find this name because I'm terrible with names.
No worries. Yeah. I mean, so there's, normally I struggle with like batshit science and just things being like just dumb or inconsistent, and I manage this movie toes the line of I think they know how stupid things are, and so they don't dwell on it, and it allows you to just okay, I'm not going to suspend my disbelief. There were a couple things that kind of got to me, but what'd you find?
Charles Dance.
Charles Dance, of course.
Yeah, he was in the last movie, and he was an interesting villain, if a bit confusing. Like the last movie was really confusing because they were like, we need to release Godzilla to stop him from stopping this giant destruction of our world. And I was like, doesn't Godzilla like decimate 15 towns? I get it, like no, he wants to protect you, but especially in this movie where like they try and reason away, oh, Godzilla doesn't like want to kill us, and like
yes,
he went right, he walked right through a bridge and he caused a ton of cars to fall into the water. And I was like, he killed like maybe 50 people there.
Oh, I mean, thanks for bringing that up. That bridge was so annoyed because it's like Godzilla swims, he knows how to swim, etc. And like, why would he get out of the water right at the bridge to break it? Except that it's a cool scene, but it's like, well, why? That would just might hurt him, but also like be an inconvenience. So like, is he just vindictive? He's like, fuck that bridge. Like, it doesn't really make sense. It's just, it's one of those, I'm playing with my toys and it would look cool type scenes. And there's a bunch in the film. But to go back to your other point, this is like retconning of Godzilla being everyone liking him and being our savior. Like, was that in King of the Monsters? Was everyone like, praise be to Godzilla, he's our best friend?
And then suddenly in this movie, the Millie Bobby Brown's dad, Madison. Like he goes, oh, people change. We can't kind of put our own ways of thinking on it. And I'm like, but why is he suddenly a bad guy? And of course, they explain it in the movie, but the way he acts in the movie is a little bit too bad. Like he goes really bad, and I was just like, he's Godzilla. Like he should be like when it comes to like the big epic fight at the end, he should be trying to take the fight into the ocean or like trying to move it. But maybe that's not him. Maybe he is. Maybe he just goes, look, I'm here to protect humans, as in like the human race. If I kill a few,
who cares?
I'm sorry. Yeah, who cares? He's not like Superman, although Superman has killed quite a few people in Man of Steel.
Yeah, don't get me started with that. That's gonna real derail us. That's how I felt. It's this modern movies. This whole. We'll put a throwaway line that says we're evacuating the city, and then show a couple people going in a shelter, and then we'll just decimate things, which. But you can't do if you then show people in the buildings yelling and screaming, because then you didn't evacuate the city. It was just you don't get it, and like, or the cars on the bridge, you don't get to do that. You either say the city's empty so that you don't have to feel bad about all these people dying, or
You
you
do,
have the people dying.
yeah, you do what Zack Snyder did in Justice League, the director's cut or
Yeah.
the Zack cut, where he just goes, "Oh, it's an abandoned nuclear silo town. There's no one here, which means we can just kill everyone. We can
We can break all
shoot
the buildings. Yeah.
exactly, break all the buildings." Yeah,
Yeah, so I just, yeah, it was just like, well, wait, did you evacuate? And it's totally, I mean, it's the same type of thing we were saying with the pacing, right? It's because we keep moving on, we don't have to be consistent. We're just assuming you don't really care that we're saying, like, look, we're giving you the feel goods. Don't worry about people.
Yeah.
And then we're going to show people because that's ups the stakes. And it's like, please don't do that, movie. Like, respect your audience a bit more.
exactly.
Yeah, so
although the humans are very stupid in this movie, like the main bad guy's daughter at the very end, she's like, "I'm gonna produce a gun to you, child," even though King Kong is right behind you and he could like
and
hurl
he's
a rock at me.
the only reason we're here is he values you.
Yeah. Yeah, that scene I was like, why? And then she shot, she's like, "Oh no." And I was like, of course. Of course he would like roar.
Yeah, she's also just a waste of a character.
She is, yeah. Like I remember when the bad guy said, "Oh, my daughter," and for like a solid second, I thought his daughter was Eileen Andrews. I thought, is that his daughter? And then he goes, "Oh no, it's this woman." I was like, I forgot that he was his daughter, that she was his daughter all this time because I didn't even know who she was.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's sort of it, right? It's she shows up and she says this like cocky, we've got really expensive magic flying cars, right? And she's like, ha 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 ha, and then the next time you see her, she's all like, will this work? I'm like, you're here because you know this thing works. You brought the thing that you were like, my daddy made this, it's great, I'm cocky. And then when they're about to go into the gravity well thing, she's like, oh, I don't know, because they just wrote her as like a generic female in an action movie. Suddenly she lost all of her swagger, and it's like, well, that's the only character trait you had. Now you're just daughter. And then she makes a bad call, and because someone's got to do a heel turn to keep the movie going, because the movie's just a series of questionable heel turns.
Yeah, that scene when they 3D print the energy source to bring it back to the dad, I was like, what the hell is this? What? And then they go, we could copy the energy source. I was like, wait.
Oh yeah, let's go into it. I think let's talk about their plan. This is what I took some notes because I was just like, what the heck? So the secret plan, right, is that so one, we sort of touched on it, but Godzilla apparently has a radar to other Titans. That is like the MacGuffin that makes him go all over the world, right? Oh, I sensed a Titan. I gotta go beat it up, because secretly Godzilla just cares about being number one. So he actually just wants all Titans to be dead. That's all he wants. He just wants to kill Titans.
Apex predators.
Yeah. So then they're like, we're afraid. We want to be the Apex, right? In Apex industry. So we're gonna make a Mecha Godzilla out of Gojira's skulls. Because the necks are so long, the only way the skulls could possibly communicate is if they were telepathic. And so they've made a telepathic supercomputer to drive Mecha Godzilla. I guess. I don't know why you need that. Sure.
Yeah.
Right. But
I had one question in the movie, and they never really answered it. I was always wondering if Ghidorah was secretly brainwashing the two of them, the two bad guys, like going, "Oh, get me this energy source. It'll help you." When in actuality, it'll just make me more powerful and allow my subconscious to come through.
I don't think that. I think you're giving way too much credit to the screenplay. It's just, yeah. So we've got, in the end, we've got like the three Titans, right? We've got Mecha Godzilla, Godzilla, and Kong. So Mecha Godzilla is the plan is to make sure that Godzilla can't kill us all by making our own Godzilla. And that's the evil plan. But actually, Godzilla and King Kong just wreck shit up and kill people, so maybe having a response is good? But no, he's the bad guy. Sure.
Yeah.
So he's the bad guy, and he's like, aha, well, the problem with Mechagodzilla is our current power source only gets to 40%, which means when it uses its laser beam breath, runs out of juice. So we need a
Yes.
new battery for Mechagodzilla.
That was actually one problem I had now, to go back to like how they wanted to create this. Like in between the last film and this film, Godzilla went around and killed everyone, which made no sense because in the last film, everyone bowed to him. They were like, "Oh, you like we won't mess with you. We're other Titans. We see you as the king of
Right.
monsters."
Yeah, I remember the
leave you
weird
alone.
kneeling scene from the trailer.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was just like, "Oh, okay, so maybe they'll be in the next movie." And then somehow they all died, and I was like, "Wait, why did he kill them?
That
No
is
reason."
weird. I didn't know
Yeah.
that. So basically, they designed a robot that, in a way that it didn't have enough power to work, which doesn't make sense. But sure? Question mark. So then they're like,
Yeah.
"Aha!" But we think that there's a power source that made the Titans.
Yes, yeah.
And we believe in the hollow earth theory that there's a bunch of tunnels that connect to the earth but also go to the magic middle bit. And so we think that what made the Titans is there. So we're going to hire the guy who wrote a book about the hollow earth to lead the expedition, and what they want to do is they don't know where the thing is, so they're gonna have to get just Kong, to guide them there? Question mark.
Yes, yeah.
But one of the weird things about getting to the magic place is that there's a portal that inverts gravity. And
I loved that scene. That visual was interesting.
And the dude, the doctor, the scientist, his brother died in an expedition to go there.
Yeah.
And that's why but don't worry, because Apex has also made fancy flying hover vehicles. They want King Kong to lead them to the source through the gravity thing. So otherwise they won't be able to find it, but also he's just gonna home in on it, is their theory. This is the plan, right? And then
it's okay, you can question everything, it's fine.
Yeah. and then that's what they do, except they're gonna avoid Godzilla's so they put King Kong on a boat, and they're like, cool, we're gonna sail you to Antarctica, where we know we can get to Hollow Earth from, but also the whole point is that there's entrances all over the world, but we need to go sail for several days to this particular entrance? Question mark. And
I think they said, what was it called? Oh, he can't survive out here. And I was like, then why bring him here? Because what if he doesn't do what you want to do? You've just bring a giant ape to the Antarctica who will probably kill himself or kill you.
Yeah,
eat you. He eats meat. We know that, and that's kind of terrifying.
Yeah. So to get to Antarctica, though, first Godzilla has his magic radar, so he's like, "Aha! King Kong is around. I'm going to beat him up." And then we have a very cool boat fight scene that's set the tone for things, because you're like, okay, King Kong has to keep jumping on different boats because he's an ape, and you're doing a middle of the ocean fight scene. What?
Yeah.
And
also these boats don't collapse under his weight, because when he lands on the one with all the planes, I was like, that should have snapped like a toothpick.
Totally, yeah. Instead of just kind of tilted. It's fine.
Yeah, kind of tilted. And then he throws a jet with a human inside it, and I was like, that's kind of did he look inside the jet and go, "You're a human. I shouldn't throw you. You're actually a friendly human." But he just goes, "Yeah," and throws.
But they have a throwaway ADR line that says, "Hit your ejection seat." So we know that guy's safe, because that's all that matters. Is he clearly, if someone said eject, he ejected fine somehow in that scene.
Yeah.
But also all of the ships that got broke were, I guess, and he's doing his fist pounding stuff. It's like, oh yeah, that definitely didn't affect people in the ship at all. It's fine. It's cool.
Yeah, the end of that scene made no sense when they were like, "Power down the boats. He'll think we're dead." And I was like, oh, okay, one more question. He does know that Godzilla, or not Godzilla, is King Kong resurfaced, and he's on the boat.
Yeah,
he could probably tell that oh, he's still alive. I could do one nuclear Godzilla breath blast and just destroy all of you.
Yeah,
and then that's it. And I was like, why didn't he do that? And also, why does he look super evil under the fire? He was like, yes.
Yeah, I think at one point in the movie we've got like a full-on full face shot, and he licks his lips like
Yeah,
sinisterly,
he
and you're like,
laughs.
what?
You can hear him laughing, like he goes, hey, 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 hey. And I
Yeah.
was like, what the? Why does he laugh?
Yeah, so they basically Kong gets beat up, but they're like, he won't finish. Yeah, the scientist guy's like, if we cut all the power to the boat, it'll all be okay, and it is. But then they're like, we
Yeah.
can't turn the boat back on, otherwise Godzilla will come back. So what do we do? And then we cut to Godzilla or King Kong in a net with like 4 big choppers, like just trolling him about, and you're like, well, how did
Where'd you get those choppers from?
Well, and how did they load King Kong onto them, and how did Godzilla not notice that? Like, if the boat engines were enough to get Godzilla to come back, how would the operation of getting Kong loaded into a net not? Because I think the flying thing was supposed to be, well, Godzilla can't fly, so you can avoid him. But wouldn't Godzilla just pace you? Like, it doesn't make any sense, but it doesn't matter because the film's dumb. So we are now in Antarctica.
But I think the reason he didn't come back is because he particularly hates Ghidorah. Ghidorah is, like, in the lore of Godzilla, Ghidorah is Godzilla's greatest enemy. And that's why he reasoned it away. Like, he was probably like, oh, the monkey's gone. Okay, where's Ghidorah? Oh, okay, he's over there. I'll go after him because that's all I care about is killing Ghidorah.
Right.
Because that is that's my reason, is to kill Ghidorah, because Ghidorah was brought to Earth, he crash landed on Earth to kill humanity for some reason.
Is that the plot of King of the Monsters?
I don't know. From what I could remember, he landed on Earth, and they were like, because like he's not like other Titans.
Right.
He's like an actual lizard, because if you chop off its head, the other head regrows again. Right. And I thought that would happen in this movie. Like Ghidorah would suddenly become all fleshy, and we get like a weird bone Ghidorah. That would have been cool, like a one-hit bone Ghidorah that they fight or something. I don't know.
So now the plan is we've got King Kong. So we put him in front of the tunnel, and this is where I was like, wait, what? And sure enough, in secret, they have built this giant facility and like put like struts and dug the tunnel and supported it. And there's like underground, there's just this massive base, and all because the deaf girl Gia convinces Kong that his family might be in the center of the earth, so please lead us there. But he leads you there via clearly place the Apex has already been, because they've got all their machinery and their like girders and stuff. And you're like, wait, so this is the path to the bubble, or the hollow earth. You've done this much work to get a battery for Mechagodzilla? This, like, the scale of the stuff Apex has makes no sense.
Also, the scale of the monsters make no sense, because Godzilla, when he's fighting Khan on the boat, he's smaller than what he looks like in the city, where he's at least a skyscraper tall. He's really big and tall.
I think the boats are just supposed to be a lot bigger than they seem.
Maybe. And then there's also another bit in the trailer I noticed, because they also brought this up in the second one. Godzilla was able to stand in the ocean, because he does that in that scene with all the fire. He's like standing up and looking over, and I was like, is he just like waddling, like he's just trying to stay upright with his hands? I didn't understand, like, was he actually standing down or something? It's just weird.
Yeah, that is weird. So we go to the center of the earth. We go through the very cool scene with the gravity inversion, which again is scientific mumbo jumbo that doesn't make sense, but sure, looks good.
I kind of wish the sound like dropped out completely there. Like they just have to go pop, and then you just maybe hear muffled audio, because that was one of my favorite parts of the movie, is the audio mixing. It's really, really good. There's like a scene with I think it's the child, and everything drops and you feel the goosebumps inside you. Go, oh no, there's something going. And I like that. I love it.
It's worth. So the audio make is really good. I especially like all the scenes with Gia where she's the focal point. They cut the audio, so you get that we're like from her point of view sound wise because she's deaf, and so like when she like puts her hand on the ground to feel Kong's heartbeat, right after he got beat up, it all cuts low and you just hear the thumping, and then even when what's her name, her mom, her adopted mom, Eileen, right? Even when Eileen's talking to her, it's all they keep everything low because the point is we're trying to tune in to Kong, and we're with Gia there, but obviously we can still hear everything else, so it's like a really cool. It was balanced really well where you like felt like you were in the deaf person's perspective, but still got to hear the audio.
Exactly. I just appreciate good audio design, and like the music was actually really good. I thought it wouldn't be as good as King of Monsters because that was Barry McCreary. He just great music. But this was it feels exactly like the old Godzillas. At least what I can tell from the music, it feels very, I don't know, tribal. Like it feels like they're actually like two big beasts just going at it, that kind of thing.
Yeah, they definitely had their own sort of. I don't know if they had their own separate themes. I'm sure, but like yeah, it definitely. The audio, I also found it very easy to not notice because it was just so blended well. Like it didn't, the scoring wasn't like in your face or over the top. So it was just, for me, just like I had to be like, oh wait, what's going? Like I had to remind myself that like I want to talk about the audio. I should have to tune into it. But it's been a while since an action movie hasn't like made those. That I haven't been very obviously noting it because it's obvious, and this felt very blended, really well blended into the film, so I mean, could easily like not notice that it was happening because it's doing its job.
Like that's the difference with Zack Snyder's Justice League. The audio mixing in that is really intense. Like I listened to it in bed and I was just like, Jesus Christ. And it works because you want to feel that sense of tension and dread. And this movie does have that. Like when the music kicks in, it gets louder. It gets really loud, but it doesn't come to the point where you're like, okay, my ears are hurting. Can you bring down the tone a bit, like, or the music a bit?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but sorry, I interrupted you talking about the portal.
Oh yeah, well that's fine. I mean, I'm basically going through the batshit plan because it's a good way to get us to navigate through the scenes because it's also like very dumb. So then King Kong basically zeroes in on where to go in the Hollow Earth once they get through. They're fine. Their magic vehicles are fine. He fights a couple things, and then he just immediately goes to the edge of the Hollow Earth where mountains are, because of the weird gravity shit, like mountains are coming from the top and the bottom. And he jumps to the inverted gravity. It's really cool. And there's this weird Prometheus hand, and then he finds a throne room with some statues of other Kongs, and then I was like, wait, what? What is this backstory they're giving the world? The world, there's a power source that's in a throne room.
Monkeys apparently, or gorillas should I say, and they don't ever explain that. There's multiple points in this movie where it just says things, and I'm like, wait. I don't remember Godzilla in the last movie, or not Godzilla. Sorry, I mean King Kong. Ever kind of going, oh yeah, he has a family, and I was like, I thought he was just like unique, like
like all the rest of them. Like, does that mean there's other Mothras too, and Godzillas? Like, that's what you're saying because these are all Titans. Like, but no, now there's a bunch of maybe that's, and it's this weird like, oh, secretly, primates are the key because they had primate statues and a throne, and the power source is in this giant temple thing that they break into. And like King Kong like sees an axe with a fin plate from a Godzilla as the blade. It looks exactly like Godzilla's plates. And then so you're like, oh, there are more Godzillas. And like, well, he digs it out of a skull. It's like, okay, someone fought here, I guess. But then it turns out this is the throne room, and it doesn't seem like it was a place where fighting happened. That's a cool scene to get the axe shown. And then it turns out the axe is the key to the power source because it starts glowing randomly. And then Kong is like, I know how to use tools. I'll just take this over here to this axe-shaped hole. and plop it down. And you're like, what is going on? Like,
Yeah.
is this like built into his DNA? He's never been here. He's looking for his family. That's what he thinks is happening. And then suddenly he's like, well, I'm in the throne room. I might as well put this to cool a weapon. I get that. And then it's like, oh no, but it's glowing, so I should put it here. And then it like turns the power source on, and they're like, aha, and that gets Godzilla's attention, but also it doesn't do anything. Like, it glows and that's it. And you're like, well, what was the point of this thing? But also, who built it? Is King Kong just like a really dumb Kong? Because that room would have been designed by higher intelligence than he's displaying. He barely uses a weapon, right? And it's like, but now there's like an axe-shaped hole that was carved, but also the axe is like a bone and with like basically like a leather tie and a fin. It looks rudimentary, but it's the key to the power source. Like, none of it makes sense. But that's when you get the heel turn from Apex, and she's just like, I'll point guns at everyone.
Yeah. Like that heel turn was so obvious whenever we cut back to the father, and he was like, my daughter will get the energy source. Yes. And like, there is one thing I wanted to bring up. When Godzilla first comes, he destroys, is it Los Angeles? That's the first city he goes to, is Los Angeles. And he doesn't destroy the eye, like the big eyes there pulsing. Yeah. And I was like, oh, he should destroy that. And then like all the characters come back there, and I'm like, wait. Why didn't Godzilla come up here and destroy the base? Yeah. He knows there's something here. Why didn't he just go in there and go, oh, there's the skull. There's a weird, there's Elon Musk's tunnel from here to Hong Kong. I love that scene because I was like, is this guy Elon Musk in this film? Because he suddenly has a tunnel. And like, there's bits in there where I'm just like, he should have destroyed that. And when they went back there, I was like, why didn't he destroy that? That makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean, Godzilla's basically role is to stop doing the one thing they say he does, which is a drive to be the apex predator and kill all the things that he has a magic radar he can find. And then the entire movie is him not quite doing that ever. Like you said, the Mechagodzilla eye is what brought him to his first fight, and then he stops because we want to show Bernie seeing it. But it's like, but the whole point is Godzilla would have ruined it. That's why he that's why he attacked the base, was to kill this specific thing? Question mark? Yeah. And then
and also and also I found it interesting when it comes to Bernie's character. No one in the Apex organization is like, okay, so we know someone who worked for a corporation does this podcast. Let me just take his voice and match it with all of my employees. It's you.
Yeah.
Not to mention, go ahead, say.
Oh yeah. Not to mention Millie Bobby Brown literally is listening to his. We see that he puts out an episode saying, "I'm going to steal from my employer today."
Yeah. Yeah. I thought he died in the intro because when he was recording it, I was like, oh, is this like his final farewell? If he dies, these upload to the internet and everything happens. But I was like, no, wait, this is weekly. Yeah. He's coming back, and no one seems to go, okay, so this guy he's not like synthesizing his voice. He's not making it like robotic.
No, he also has a very distinct voice and accent.
Yes. Yeah, it's just weird and stupid.
It's very dumb, yeah. So then, so King Kong's Magic Palace, basically, this is my favorite part of the science. Actually, no, there's two parts, but this part where the plan was to have a little robot, so they don't know what the power source is, right? Oh, yeah, but they had a little robot that could analyze, basically do like a geological sample, like just drill, pull a tube out, analyze it, and then text message. I mean, like send it through the internet? Question mark from the Hollow Earth to like it analyzed the power source, and then suddenly they had it over in Hong Kong.
And they wanted to photocopy it, and I was like, oh okay, so what? How do you know your technology can photocopy
this thing you don't know what it is? Didn't even know it was a rock, right?
Exactly. And I thought like there's another point in the film that I didn't understand, like when Godzilla did the beam through the earth
Mm.
down to the core, and he got there, and I was wondering why did he do that? Because he didn't jump down. I thought he like jumped down and fight Khan inside the palace,
Yeah,
but no, he just does that and then he walks away. I
because
was
they
like, what?
needed a way to get them back on the surface.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean,
And
yeah, the whole point is they were worried that it's basically his radar kicked out. Like Kong
yeah,
uses the axe key, and that made it go on, and so now Godzilla's like, that thing, I want to go there,
yeah,
but instead of going there, he just yells at it with his fire
yeah.
breath or nuclear
And then there,
breath.
it does break the movie because they said the only way to this Earth is through a portal, and then suddenly they can go through a hole and get back to normal Earth.
This was my
And I
second
was
favorite part of the science. So they're just like emailing the sample of the power core,
yeah,
and then they just decide, okay, well, we need to. Why did you pull guns? They weren't taking the power source. They needed to take a bit to do analysis, and they're like, this is now Apex property. But then they didn't need it as property because they just needed to 3D print it essentially. It was such a weird thing because their whole heel turn didn't even make sense because they weren't seizing the land.
yeah.
They took a bit and then emailed it, and they didn't need that space anymore. So that entire confrontation didn't need to happen, and comes to nothing. But yeah, so then Godzilla yells down his new hole, and Kong yells back. It's like, time for me to go, and the tunnel's big enough. He's huge, right? Because like Godzilla used his
Yeah.
breath, which means it's the size of his head, but also it's wider than King Kong by a lot because he can climb up the tunnel. Sure. But yes, as you said, this is my like. There's no gravity bubble thing they have to go through. They all just go up fine. King Kong goes up fine. They don't have to worry about, well, if gravity is coming from both directions, you need a lot of speed. Whatever the thing was. It's like, no,
Yeah.
it's fine. We can just climb up a tube. Cool.
Yes, and then we're in Hong Kong, and then the movie breaks again when they fight Mecha Godzilla. Like when sorry, I'll let you continue. I'm going to try and bring my thoughts together.
Yeah, sounds
when
good.
it comes to that entire scene.
Yeah. So those are and again, the plan was to go to a place they already knew where to look for a power source. So I guess it was just hoping Kong would know instinctively where the power source was, and then hope that their robot could analyze it and email it somehow. But also you would think the Wi-Fi stuff wouldn't work through the gravity well, but that's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. And also in another other like ozone layer, or not ozone layer, but like another like whole entire ecosystem. Like,
oh yeah, you know what? I can't remember where I saw this, but my favorite thing about Hollow Earth is someone online just was like, "Hey, so where's the light coming from?"
Oh yeah, it's all and then there's
it's daylight. It's a sunny day, but there's no sun. You're in the and they don't even like show a thing. It's just light.
But according to the characters, they're like, oh, the sun powers our Earth, but also their Earth. And then I was like, so is the sun like, is our Earth like an invisible glass that then the sun goes through and then hits that weird upside down planet? And I remember I was just like going, there's so many problems there. What?
Yeah, and I also really like how they said there's multiple tunnels to Hollow Earth, but then they wrote a way to get back, but then they're like, I don't know, why doesn't Godzilla just yell with his breath, and then we can go up the hole? It was just like, why didn't you then just say, because if they had said there was one access point, which is in Antarctica, that would explain why they had to go to Antarctica instead of somewhere closer, and then it would explain why they needed a different way back, or whatever. And instead it's like, nah, don't worry about it. But yeah, so I do want to talk a little bit about that fight though, because that's the good stuff, right?
Yes, yes. Well,
in Hong Kong.
yeah.
So I really liked the slugfest
Oh
that
yeah.
they had. Like the just Kong's punching, right?
Yes.
Like just
Yeah.
felt very visceral. I was really impressed at how they it
Yeah.
didn't feel like CGI blobs being like
Yes.
burr, burr, burr,
Yeah, like the level of detail on his face is amazing. I was looking at it, I was going like, wow, like you can really tell when like he's talking to the little girl, he's like very caring. He's like big beady eyes. He's almost adorable, which is weird because I'm like, oh, because Godzilla's unless like Godzilla,
Oh.
Khan is adorable,
Mm.
and then like maybe like an hour into the movie, he gets a bat and rips its head off and then eats its brain. And I was like,
Yeah.
he's still adorable, even though he just decapitated a bloody bat thing.
Well, I mean that's the
Yeah,
weird thing with
and
his
like that
character.
final fight scene.
Hmm. Go on.
Yeah, like the entire. Oh, sorry, apologies.
No, no, go on.
That final fight scene is, as you said, like it's really good. Like the way they use the buildings, like when Mechagodzilla gets Godzilla's head and like punches it into the building multiple times, and then just throws it into another building. And I like how all of his weapons work. Like he has like a shoulder-mounted missile launcher for some reason,
Um.
and
Yeah. Although that's kind of hilarious because. So yeah, so like in the Mechagodzilla line is they get the power source emailed to them, they make it work,
hmm,
and then but because now he's fully powered, that's when they lose control, and it's like I'm gonna get out of here, and it's got a mind of its own, and you're like, so I guess it's Gojira's ghost, as you were saying, question
yes,
mark.
yeah,
But that's just because
it's
they want
the
an excuse
essence.
to lose control, right?
Yeah, and they want to bring back, I guess, Ghidorah again so that they can fight.
Oh,
Um, even though yeah, there's just a lot of problems because like I
one
don't
sec.
think they needed, for me personally, I don't think you needed Ghidorah for, I guess, Mechagodzilla to work. You could just have it be, oh, they made Mechagodzilla. Um, but I also think they were trying to make this movie somehow work with Pacific Rim,
Mm.
because I feel the technology they use is very Pacific Rim like. And I remember Guillermo del Toro, if I have the right answer, right director, he
Yep.
said that yeah, I do want to make a Godzilla v Pacific Rim movie, and I was like, that sounds interesting. That sounds really cool. It's two different uh, production studios working together to make something interesting.
Hmm.
I don't know how you'd make it work. Like, I mean, you could make it work. The Pacific Rim is like a completely other galaxy, and you could just have it be he somehow taps into an alternate Earth, and then like you could just make a stupid bloody movie. Just have it be like alternate Earths, all that crap. Like,
Yeah. Um. Yeah. So Mechagodzilla gets a mind of its own,
yes,
and but also like I get it like punching and maybe using its breath, but it's like how would it know how to use the weapons and stuff? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
yeah,
It just knows that it has a rocket over here and can fire it because we're not
yes,
sure what it is, so it can do whatever
yeah,
we want.
exactly. And its flesh is somehow very powerful until they break the connection between the two heads, and then suddenly Khan can use the axe to cut off its arm,
Oh, but
cut off.
that's not actually what happened though.
Oh, really? Oh, sorry. Go
So
on.
let's because what we actually got some foreshadowing of
Hmm.
the magic axe because Kong brings it with him, and when he fights in
Yeah.
Tokyo, he blocks Godzilla's
Oh, breath. Yeah, of
breath
course.
with
Yeah.
it, and it glows more. And
Yeah.
in that fight,
Oh, yes, of
Kong
course. Yeah.
wins because his axe suddenly hurts Godzilla.
Yeah, because Godzilla roared into it. He did it deliberately. He was like, "Oh, do this.
Yeah,
We know it works."
yeah.
And then,
So then in
yeah,
the Mecha Godzilla fight, um, yeah, they tag team basically. It's like, I know. He's like, oh, I recognize that axe. Godzilla no longer mindless and clearly planning. It's like, I'll yell at it,
yeah,
and then it's like, cool, you yelled at my axe, and then it's like, well, my Mecha Godzilla is done because the magic axe is magic, right?
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so I really liked. I was worried with the Tokyo fight scene about it being dark, and it was like, oh, like darkness is a very normal
Oh,
thing
I
used
get you.
in like yeah, sorry, like at nighttime. um it's a thing you often see with to hide CGI blemishes, right? Like that's why so much CGI happens at night. But I think I loved how they used so much of like the brightness of the buildings that they were torn apart, and like the
Yes, the
Hong Kong
neon.
city,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
cityscape. It worked so well, and that fight really felt visceral. And then, but also the breath weapon, the
Yes.
yelling,
And the
just it was
camera
so
angles are very
bright. Sorry.
yeah. The camera angles are very interesting. Like when what's his name? King Kong is like running through the city and you see the beam behind him. The camera kind of like moves up to his head, like it goes up from his legs as he's running and moving. It's really interesting. And I was almost wishing there was like a neon. Well, there was a bit of what's the word, synthwave music in the
Mm,
movie. And I almost wish the synthwave music came in there with all the neon.
right.
It would have worked very well. Um, yeah, like the cinematography in this movie is really good. It's not like, makes you kind of go, wow, this is clearly a director who understands. It's just he understands. I know that I need to have, well, I wouldn't say the camera because it makes no sense. It's all CGI, but
Yeah.
he knows where to place the digital camera to make it all work.
Yeah, it's phenomenally well shot. I think that's what makes like I said, that's what makes these shot right. These fight scenes work so well. Is it knows to take not to chop it up too much, but to give
Mm.
dynamic changes. Um, and also, yeah, like you said, like just the use of buildings as like punching you into it, throwing you into it. One of my favorite things was when Mechagodzilla attacks Godzilla, like right at the beginning, just jumps
Mm.
and then uses his jetpack to just like
Oh yeah,
super punch. It was like, it's amazing. It's so dumb. And you think this was
yes.
like someone is in a design meeting, right? And being like, well, on our Mechagodzilla project, what if we gave him a jetpack? Oh, you want to make him fly? Nah, I just want him to be able to punch a little stronger. Oh, that's so cool. Let's do it. It's just it's so dumb, and I loved it. But yeah, so the Kong and Godzilla basically fight in the morning, a second
Yes.
time, and that's when Kong just gets his ass handed to him and is almost dead. And then Godzilla and
Yes.
Mechagodzilla start fighting, and Mechagodzilla's got the upper hand. And then the magic happens again. So Kong's
Oh
basically
yes, yes.
dying. And how did they? How did he get back to life?
Uh, the spaceship has like electrical energy that they can use to resuscitate him. And I thought the doctor guy would sacrifice him, like he would sacrifice himself, because like he even says, "Oh, buddy, we'll get you back." And then he presses the button, and then I was like, "Wait, how did he get off the body? Did he like run
Thank you.
across Godzilla's stomach, or not Godzilla, King Kong's stomach, and then get down?"
Yeah. So
And I was like,
so
"Wait,
yeah, because he basically parks the magic gravity car
yeah,
on Godzilla's chest, and also he's a scientist who does Hollow Earth stuff, but he knows how to pilot.
hmm,
He knows all the science. He knows how to make this thing that he didn't design, this magic thing, explode essentially. But
yes,
sure, he also knows the anatomy of where to place a thing because he's a scientist. He just knows all the things.
yeah,
So he places the thing on, sets to essentially self-destruct, and he's like, and then you see him running out of the car, and then it cuts to him running on the street, and you're like, you skipped
yes,
the hard part, which is if he's running, presumably it's a short timer, and he would have to climb down the ape.
yes, yes. And like they never set up like how much time he had to get away. They're like, "Oh, do this," and yeah, and like they even made a line in the background. You could die, or they say something like that. You might have to sacrifice yourself. And I was like, "Oh, yeah, this would be a good end for the character." I mean, he hasn't learned anything because this movie does nothing with the
There's no
like. I don't
arcs.
feel any. There's no arcs exactly like except for I think the monsters and I think the child the I don't, I
Yeah.
don't
I don't think that. I
I
don't
don't know
think
who
she changes at all. She's like, I want to protect Kong, but I want to help my mom. She does those
yeah
things, I guess.
and that was actually one problem I wanted to bring up. Because I feel like Khan would have been able to tell that Apex would have betrayed them all. Because like when he goes, "Oh, just tell him his family's down there," and I was like, that feels a little bit manipulative. Like when you just go, "Yeah, your family's down there," and I was like, what if they aren't? Would he just go, "They aren't down here. I will just kill you. I will just."
Well, the thing
I'll just
is, they weren't down there. There was a couple statues, but to the credit of the screenwriters, what Eileen signs to Gia to tell him is it's his home. His family could be there, maybe.
yeah, yeah.
But that brings me to I can't believe we got this far without talking about the sign language communication, which
Oh yeah,
it's cool. I like the idea of like Kong is a primate, so he has a level of intelligence. I like the idea that he can communicate, and like again, they using tools like they make him smarter than I think you traditionally see him. I don't know how smart he was in Skull Island, but like that's a cool thing. But the way they reveal it is he signs to Gia, and then like, wait, you taught him how to sign language? How'd you like?
yes.
And it's like the dude is in a dome
Yeah, he
under
doesn't break out
constant
of.
surveillance, and no one noticed the child teaching him sign language. How is
Yes.
that at all possible?
There was another problem I had with that dome thing. How long did it take for him to understand that it was a dome? And like, I also have another question: why doesn't he just run right through the dome and just leave? Because I was like, when that movie started, I mean, first of all, the music in the intro is really weird. It's like a sitcom music. It's like going da 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 da, da. And I was like, is this like his normal everyday routine? He's going to get the donuts. He's going to go to work. He's got to say hello to Bob.
Yeah, right.
All that shit. And like, and it's the same at the end of the movie. Like, there's another weird music sting. And I was like, why is this at the end of the movie? This is a weird. I can't remember what that song was, but the song at the end of the movie is just strange.
Oh
But
yeah,
anyway,
it is really weird.
yeah, like he, like at the start of the movie, he's in that dome, and I was just like, how is he? Like, why is he in that dome? Well, obviously I know why, to protect him.
Yeah.
But why hasn't he ever got to the very edge and touched it and go, oh, this is all fake?
Well,
Oh,
yeah, and why would he? So we see him right at the beginning strip a tree and throw it in anger at the sky, and you're like, oh, he's in a magic dome with a fake sun.
Sky.
Yeah, and yeah, it's like, why would he have picked that day? Except that's when we catch up to him. But yeah, then he's fine again. So he was just throwing a tantrum? Question
Yeah,
mark.
I think the little girl warned him because, yeah, what's it called? When he meets the little girl, she gives a look at him when she brings down the like ape she made, the little teddy bear ape.
Right.
And
Which
like, he
also,
looks at her.
yeah, it's like, why is she making this out of twine and stuff when she isn't living in a like she's in a high tech facility, etc. It's just very strange.
And like, I was just like, did she want to tell him? Like, why did she tell him? I was just very confused about that entire bit.
Yeah, I think
yeah.
you can't think too hard about this movie. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
again, I want to reiterate as we come close to the hour that I really enjoyed it. It's just,
Yes.
it's very bonkers, and it does nothing stands up to any scrutiny, but in a way that I kind of enjoy talking about, because it's like, yeah, sure,
Yeah.
the gravity well that killed the kid and was like the reason why we had the hypercars also doesn't exist anymore.
Yes.
It's cool.
There was a part of me that wished the ending was a little bit longer, because when Kong and Godzilla beat back up again, they were ready for a fight. And I remember the director said there would be a definite winner. One will die. And I
Oh,
was like,
really?
okay, then. Yeah, he said that. He said there would be definitely one winner.
And he lied.
And then when they met again, I was like, yes, yeah. And then it deflates the scene when they just go, rah, rah, rah. Rah,
Yeah,
rah,
but they're
rah.
best
And
buds now. I literally in my notes wrote best buds, G and
Yes.
K.
I mean, we do have an idea that Godzilla would obviously kill Khan. It's the fight at night when he has the leg on his chest and he just
Yeah.
goes roar, like, I am the best.
Yeah, I
Screw
mean,
you.
yeah, where
Fire.
he literally. So, but that's another one of those things where why is Godzilla not killing King Kong? Was because we need Kong around, because he literally beats the tar out of him, stomps on his chest, and then gives him a look like, yeah, you're done. I don't even need to finish you off. And you're like, but that's not how this
Yeah.
thing works. You've established that,
Exactly.
like, otherwise he would have beaten all the other ones into submission and not killed them. Before the movie started, when he killed all the things. It's like, well, this his whole point. You've told me his point is he wants to kill all the things that is ping his radar.
Hmm.
But he doesn't, and then but then yeah, so Kong gets defibrillated, and that cures him of all his wounds? Question mark? Because you have to Godzilla beat the tar out of him. His heart's back working, but it's like, what about all that combat damage? And suddenly he's like he's really like really can beat up Mecha Godzilla, who was owning Godzilla, and you're like, well, how is Kong this strong? Oh, because the movie needs him to be pretty strong, such that he can get to the point where the axe makes sense to kill Mechagodzilla. But it's like not even consistent with itself, but it does make for great punchy.
Yeah, yeah. I will just say my last thoughts in this movie. I liked it a lot, even though a part of me at the end was like, yeah, I kind of wish one of them killed each other. It feels weird that the director said one would die, but then in the back of my mind, I was like, well, since this is technically Kong's movie, maybe he would have won. I don't know. There was a lot of things where I was just like, it should have just maybe have him beat him or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
I did enjoy the movie. It was just that ending where it just goes, we're friends now. And I was like, wait, did you suddenly forget about the apex predator thing and the fact that you need to kill? Well, suddenly in this movie, you need to kill every monster, and somehow you just want to go, nah, I'll leave you alive.
yeah, for the third time.
Yes, yeah, the third time.
Yeah, it's very inconsistent in that way. Like, and it's because they want, like, they do want Godzilla to be so. We start the movie with Godzilla. Everyone likes him, and he's cool. And we end the movie with, I guess he's cool again? Question mark. Like,
yes.
I mean, when you're talking about character arcs, it's like, nothing changed, which is kind of what makes this work. Is this is like a hangover movie and a half, if that makes sense. Like, you could just watch this and tune it out, not even hit pause, go to the bathroom, come back, and you might rewind if it's in the middle of a fight scene, but otherwise none of it matters. Like, it's so dumb, but it like the people scenes help stitch together a semblance of a thing. And overall, the fight scenes are really, really good, and they're fun and engaging, and you get to see the thing, which is Godzilla versus Kong.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I also really enjoyed it. It makes me want to watch the other ones I've missed. So it does make me wonder how much more annoyed I will be at the, like. I have a feeling there's not a lot of this backstory that's pulled into this film. This film feels.
Yeah.
The more I've looked into it, it's like, oh no, you've just made random new shit up.
Yeah. Well, you will like the third movie because it's all lore and it's so boring. And then when they fight, it's all at night. And then the first movie, it's fighting, but like the camera barely shows them fighting. It's like, oh, we keep him in the background. He's mysterious. And I'm like, I came to a Godzilla movie to watch them fight.
Yeah.
And thankfully, this movie understands that, like, they're always in front of the camera. There's never like a shot where I'm like, oh, he's in the background, I can barely see him fighting. No, he's in. They're all in the frame essentially.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and which is why I think this movie works, right? Like, and seeing Mechagodzilla power punch Godzilla and then like hold off Godzilla and Kong, and like it's dumb, but they're like suddenly they're smart enough to come up with a tag team plan. Axe move was great. It doesn't make sense with how they've developed these two monsters, but it looks so fucking cool. And then Kong just like tearing him apart with the axe. So you're like, and it's kind of neat because it's like a rudimentary tool is killing the most complex machine on the planet, right? And you're like, oh, that's a neat. Like, they're using tools, but they don't need to use anything more complicated. They just needed, a sharp, glowing axe.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, that movie's just, like, as I said, the film is stupid, but it's a fun, stupid mess that understands, and like I get, like, the director's like, hey, I made a stupid movie. This isn't like Transformers, where those are stupid movies, but they're stupid movies in the sense that they're so horribly made, and they're only worth it for one viewing, incredibly drunk, and maybe high on some kind of drug or whatever. That's the only reason why you'd watch that movie. But this movie, you can watch it somewhat conscious, maybe not too conscious, because you begin to question everything.
I mean, but like I said, I liked that there was so much stupid shit that's like, that doesn't make sense.
Yes,
that contradicts. Yeah. I mean, I like bad movies, and I felt like somehow this, because none of it took itself seriously. It was just mumbo jumbo. Oh, I don't care what I said before. It doesn't, like, it was so consistent in its inconsistency. You're just like, cool, doesn't matter. Like, I can't be. I mean, it's not. There's nothing for me to get mad at because there's nothing for me to hold on to. If that makes sense.
Yes. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I think that does us for our Go Watch This Dumb Movie podcast, apparently.
Yes.
Thanks again for coming on. This was a lot of fun. But if people wanted to follow you on any social media or anything you want to plug, now is your chance.
Cool. Well, I have my my YouTube channel, which is Sir Reginald the Eighth. It will be going through some rebranding. There's a whole lot of other things that need to change. But that's for future Connor to deal with. But no, you can go there. I'll give you the link later, and you can blast through it, wherever.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all.
Fair. As for us, you can always find all of our work at outoflives.net, where we have other podcasts, VODs from our streams, articles, reviews, etc., on all the kinds of things, gaming, movies, TV, film, etc. You can also catch us at Out of Lives Net on Twitter, and we have a Facebook page as well, Out of Lives Network, and you can catch me at the Omniarch. Please rate, review, subscribe on whatever platform, podcatcher, etc. you happen to be using to hear our lovely voices. It would really help. Tell a friend. And then that's all I got on the outro. So thanks again, Connor. So I've been Aadil.
Yep. I'll be Connor. I'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.
www.outoflives.net